It is very important for us to discuss right triangle before we proceed with the basic trigonometric functions of acute angles. Now, how can we define, or how are we going to define a right triangle? On our last topic, we have discussed a right triangle as a kind of triangle according to angle, wherein one of its angle is a right angle, meaning to say one of the angles of the right triangle measures 90 degrees. So let us consider this right triangle. Let us name it as right triangle A, B, and C. Now, the right triangle has its parts. These two sides of the triangle are the what we so-called leg, and this side of the triangle, the one opposite to the right angle, is the what we so-called hypotenuse. Now, hypotenuse is considered to be the longest side of a right triangle. Now, one Greek mathematician named Pythagoras has discovered a very special property of a right triangle. And before we talk about this property, let us name these sides of the triangle. Let us name the side opposite to angle A as A, or side A, and this side, the side opposite to angle B, as side B, and the one opposite to the right angle, or the angle C, would be named as side C. Now, this property is the what we so-called the Pythagorean Theorem. Now, what does the Pythagorean Theorem says or states? It states that the square of the longest side, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to the sum of the squares of the two legs. Alright, so let us go back to this figure. Now, the theorem states that if we're going to square the side of this right triangle, that would be equal to the sum of the square of this leg and the square of this leg. Okay, so how are we going to illustrate that using mathematical formula or using mathematical equation? So that is, the Pythagorean theorem states that c square equals a square plus b square, wherein c square, kanina inillustrate natin to as the hypotenuse, and a and b would be the legs of the right triangle. Now, questions. Will a be always a and b will always be b? The answer is no. It can be interchanged depending upon your illustration. Okay? So, for us to prove that the Pythagorean theorem is indeed correct, we have this illustration. Suppose this side of the right triangle measures 3 units, and this leg or this side of the triangle measures 4 units, and the hypotenuse measures 5 units. Okay? Sabi natin kanina sa ating theorem, sabi natin kanina sa ating theorem na if we square the hypotenuse, so ni-represent niya or in-illustrate niya dito using geometry or mga geographical figures, wherein kapag in-square natin siya, if we count the square units, we have 25 square units here. And then, sabi dyan, that would be equivalent or that would be equal to the sum of the squares of the two legs. Okay, so i-square din natin yung dalawang legs ng right triangle. And if we count these two sides and combine their number of square units, that would be indeed equivalent to 25. This side being 9 and this side being 16. Okay, so 16 plus 9, that will be equivalent to 25. Okay, so that is an illustration that proves the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let us have our a lot of sides of the right triangle are exact, and that is what we so-called the Pythagorean triple. Now, a Pythagorean triple, again, those are sets of measures of a right triangle wherein exact po yung value. So, we have a lot of examples here. We have 3, 4, 5. Indeed, kapag in-square natin si 3, in-square natin si 4, at in-square natin si 5, that would be 9 plus 16. That will be equivalent to 25, which is the square of 5. We still have 6, 8, 10, We have 5, 12, and 13, and many more. So that is for you to discover the other sets of Pythagorean triples. Okay? But what if we don't have, or we are encountering problems that do not consider Pythagorean triple? So let us have examples. Let's say, for example, we have a right triangle here, and this side of the triangle measures 7 feet, and this side of the right triangle measures 10 feet. So we are after finding the measure of the hypotenuse. Okay, so ano pong gagawin natin dyan? What we're going to do is, of course, to write the formula, or to write the Pythagorean theorem that states that the square of the hypotenuse would be equivalent to the sum of the squares of the two legs. Okay, so that is C. Yun po yung unknown natin. And then, pwede kayong mamili dito whether si 10 feet si A or si 7 feet depending upon your illustration. So in this example, let us assume that the value of A is 7 feet and the value of B would be 10 feet. Okay? So what we're going to do is just to plug in these values to our formula, which is C square equals A square plus B square. A being 7 and B being 10. Okay? So using your calculator, let us compute. That would be 7 square. What is 7 square? That means that you have to multiply 7 by itself twice. So that would be 49. Okay? 49 plus, what is 10 square? 10 square would be, I know that you all know that, that's 100, but we need to illustrate that using the calculator for it to be more understandable. And then, simplifying this one, we have C square. We have there C square equals 149. But then, ang hinahanap natin dito sa problem natin is the value of C. So, paano po natin mai-eliminate si square? So, for us to eliminate square, what we're going to do is just to extract what? Extract the root of both sides. Okay? That would be square root of C square equals the square root of 149. And in this case, kapag na-extract na po natin siya, what is the square root of C square? That would be C alone. And then, if we're going to find the square root of 49 using our calculator, the square root of 149 would be equivalent to 12.21, rounded off to the nearest hundredths. Okay, and since we are dealing with problems here, we have to put down there the unit of measurement that is being used. And in this case, we have used feet. Okay, meaning to say the value of C, or the length of the hypotenuse, is 12.21 feet. Okay, 12.21 feet. Next, what if the problem tells us, or the problem illustrates that we are missing one leg, or we are to look for the leg of a triangle. Let's say, for example, in this right triangle, one of its leg measures 5 centimeters, and we are looking for the other leg. And then, the hypotenuse measures 17 centimeters. So, anong gagawin natin? So, tulad lang din nung ginawa natin kanina, we are to, of course, first is to write the formula, or to write the Pythagorean theorem. We have C square equals A square plus B square. Okay? So, in this case, given po C, let's say for example, given CA, which is equivalent to 5 centimeters, and then we are looking for B. Okay? Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, pwede naman magkabaliktad yan. Pwedeng si A ang nawawala at si B naman yung given. Okay? Pwede po magkabaliktad yung dalawang legs. Next, And then given din yung value ni hypotenuse, which is 17 centimeters. And then what we're going to do is just to plug in the values to our formula. That would be c square, or c, alam natin that the value of c is 17 centimeters, and then the value of a is 5 centimeters, and then we are looking for the value of b. Okay? Then after that, we are to simplify what is to be simplified. Now, what is 17 square, or the square of 17? That would be equivalent to 289. 289 equals the square of 5. Okay, we don't need to use the calculator because a lot of you know that the 5 square is 25, plus the value of, or plus b square. Since hindi naman natin malalagay ng value si b, since b is unknown. Okay? So what we're going to do ay pagsasama-samahin natin kung ano dapat yung kung ano yung pwede nating pagsamahin. Since si 25 ay nasa kabilang side ng equation, ang gagawin natin is itatranspose natin siya by adding both sides by negative 25, making it 289 minus 25 equals b squared. Okay? And next, again, simplify what is to be simplified. What is 289 minus 25? That will be equivalent to 264. Okay? 264 equals b squared. Next, ang hinahanap po natin ay bilang. So, how are we going to eliminate square here? Tulad ng ginawa natin kanina, we have to, for us to eliminate the exponent, we are going to extract the root of both sides, making this square root of 264 equals the square root of b squared. Okay? So, in this case, mai-eliminate na natin yung exponent, making this, what is the square root of 264? The square root of 264 would be equivalent to 2 square root of 66, or in exact value, that is equivalent to 16.25. That would be the value of b, meaning to say, the length of the missing side of A of this right triangle is equivalent to 16.25. But since gumamit tayo ng unit of measurement dito, kailangan meron ding unit of measurement sa ating sagot. Alright, so the length of one of the legs of, or the missing leg of the right triangle is equivalent to 16.25 centimeters, rounded off to the nearest hundreds.